Coffee and Headlines is brought to you by the generous support of our viewers and the following community partners: Best Court Cutting TV, Buforge Tack Preparation, Bravos Restaurant Bar, El Rey Lounge de Versalles, Joint Boutique Hotel and Co-work, Monzon Brewing Company, Puerto Vallarta Neurofeedback, Puerto Vallarta Owners Reps, and Siam Cocina Thai. Thank you for your support, and thank you for supporting our community partners.
Good morning. I'm clearing my throat. I love it. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines. This is our morning get together live here on Facebook and live here on YouTube, where we have a look at what's going on around the city, around the state, around the country. We take a look at what you're thinking about, or you're doing, or you're wondering about as it relates to our connection with Puerto Vallarta, this crazy city that we live in. Today is Tuesday, July 8th, and it is a pleasure to connect with you and look at all those birthday wishes. Yes, I can't deny it. It is my birthday, so I appreciate all these wonderful wishes. I had a sweet conversation with my brother Gabriel earlier today, and I told him, as long as I continue to be useful and productive, every day is a birthday for me. And I am so grateful to be here because you give me the opportunity to be productive and to be useful, and hopefully, just hopefully, to be inspiring, to better connect with what's around us. That is what I do, and that is how I celebrate being alive. And what a pleasure to do it in your company. So, in that spirit, we have all kinds of things to share. First, we have some newsy news, but then in the spirit of sharing, we have, oh my goodness, some great local providers that it's irresistible to give a little shout out to. But first, great news. Flying within Mexico is complicated. A lot of cities, if you want to get to from one place to another, there's only so many hubs, and more often than not, for example, if you want to fly from Puerto Vallarta to Cancun and whatnot, you have to make a stop somewhere, and that can add to the cost. So it is great news. Let me clear my throat. It is great news to learn that now we have a direct flight to the city of Morelia, which is the capital city of the state of Michoacán. The Puerto Vallarta Tourism Bureau is promoting this new flight. The inaugural flight took place this past July 4, and the flight has 3 weekly frequencies on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, and Sundays rather, making it ideal for a weekend or a slightly longer exploration. And what is in Michoacán? Oh my goodness. Well, it's a colonial city. There's a film festival. There are tons of monarch butterflies. And there's many other attractions. I don't know that we're going to get into it right now, but just to know that one can reach Morelia by plane is comforting. I remember taking a bus, an ETN overnight bus to Morelia, and it was like 10 hours, which, at the end of the day, I didn't mind because I was sleeping on the bus, but, the bus is not for everyone. So we will find out more about this flight in the show notes that I'm going to share with you. Let's start planning a trip to Morelia. And of course, improvements planned for Guadalajara's historic downtown. We've been mentioning these. They began yesterday, and this, of course, is in anticipation of next year's World Cup. The initial work will consist of installing a perimeter fence and using light machinery to define the work areas, which will be focused on iconic spaces such as the Plaza de la Liberación, Plaza Fundadores, and the Fuente Cabañas area. The project will last approximately 8 months and will be complemented by urban improvements led by the municipal government. Now, what does that mean for the experience of visiting Guadalajara? Well, we reported a few days ago that pedestrian access would not be impaired. So it's not like we shouldn't go to Guadalajara during the coming months because they're going to be constructing things. Um, it is, it is what it is. So we will be continuing our trips to Guadalajara whenever we can, of course. Rain has been good for the Lake Chapala region. Lake Chapala is the main source of water for the Guadalajara metropolitan area, and it has seen an unprecedented recovery during the onset of this year's rainy season. In less than a month, its level rose by 30 centimeters, and this is an amount that drastically contrasts with that of 2024 when it had only recovered 4 centimeters in the same period. So, all this rain that we're getting is going to good use, at least for those people that live in the Lake Chapala region. And this made me laugh and it made me cry a little bit. This has to do with the recent anti gentrification march that took place in Mexico City, and of course the march continues to ruffle cultural and racial feathers in all kinds of ways. So a debate resurfaced on social media that, while odd, strikes a deep cultural chord. Have salsas in Mexico City lost their spice because of foreigners? I mean, think about this. A lot of times, we many of us Mexicans enjoy our food very spicy, or we want to have the choice. But there are apparently a number of taco places in certain very gentrified areas of Mexico City where if you ask for a spicy salsa, you cannot get one anymore because foreigners don't want things so spicy. So I don't know if you've had that experience here in Puerto Vallarta. I do appreciate personally the choice between spicy and non spicy, but I think I would be a little disappointed if I ended up at a restaurant that did not have the choice. And of course, part of the content that I didn't get to yesterday was this foreign lady living in Mexico City, and she picked the wrong week to get ugly in public and to be captured by social media, by cameras getting ugly. And without further ado, I give you Lady Racista, or Lady Racist, who apparently did not pay for her parking meter fee in Mexico City, and a parking boot was placed on her stunning Mercedes. And that's when she got ugly with a policeman that was just doing his work. Instead of paying for the fine, she proceeded to call him pretty much the deadliest two-word combo to refer to a fracking person of color in front of her children and in front of people that were videotaping the whole thing. And of course, as can be expected, karma is a bitch. Lady Racista was quickly identified as an Argentinian gal who works as a hostess and as a model, and according to her, as an actress. Um, and now she's widely exhibited, and folks are wondering if there will be any legal action against her. And I say, tómala. And even President Sheinbaum had something to say after being questioned during her morning press conference yesterday. And I quote President Sheinbaum by saying, "What we saw, what went viral with this woman is discrimination, is classism, it's racism, it's abhorrent racism that was directed to a policeman in Mexico City. This cannot happen in our country, and we have to point at it always." The president reiterated that any foreigner who comes to live in the country must respect our norms and our culture. But of course, my favorite President Sheinbaum related news item this morning came from Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony Award winner Viola Davis, who took her to her Instagram account to say, and I quote, Mexico's president just sent rescue teams to Texas after all the hate, after all the anti immigrant policies, after all the racism toward brown people. She still helped. She still showed up. She did the right thing to a red state that wouldn't do the same for her. That's leadership. That's power. That's a woman. Tómala. And we've never had two tómalas in the same broadcast. There's a time for a first, or a first for a time. There is, what am I trying to say? Well, we will go back in history thinking that July 8th, 2025, we did a double tomala, or maybe not. What do I know? What I know is it's time to take a look at the weather forecast. Snarky Weather says, oh, that cloud looks like Catherine the Great rigging a horse up to a pulley system. That's complicated. It is 29 degrees out there, and humidity is at 70%. And our weather forecast for today says it's going to be humid with mostly cloudy skies throughout the day, a 33% chance of rain, a high of 33, and a low of 24. Then tomorrow, scattered thunderstorms possible through the day with a chance of rain of 75%, a high of 31, and a low of 24. And then on Thursday, we're going to have rain in the morning with thunderstorms in the afternoon, a chance of rain of 85%, a high of 31, and a low of 23. And now let's see what else we have. Oh my God, this came to me courtesy of Muffin. Logan sent this to me yesterday, and I don't know if Logan was pissed because muffins have been upgraded, or if he was actually evolving as what is now being called a cruffin. What do you get when you take croissant pastry and put it in a muffin pan? You get a cruffin. And where can you find these cruffins? At Pasteleria Pavlova. And if you haven't discovered Pavlova, oh my God, it's one of the finest bakeries in town. And not only is it a great bakery, but all their publicity photos are like sexy and beautiful. Pavlova is not far from Costco, and it's a great place to go any day of the week. And I'm going to leave a link to this post for you to add it to your Yum Yum schedule at one point or another. I also wish to give a shout out to Memo Lira, our dear friend, who is one of the best tour guides here in Puerto Vallarta, without a doubt. He has a whole website called Vallarta 101 where he does walking tours of all kinds. And now he's taking advantage of something called Airbnb experiences, where if you're booking a property, you can also take advantage of suggested experiences on the platform. So we have all the information to share about that in this post. I also want to show you what Taco Tuesday looks like at El Rey Barbecue Lounge. I tell you, if I was not going to be kidnapped for a birthday dinner and I had a say on where we're going, I would say, let's go to El Rey Barbecue Lounge today. Because not only do you get these three wonderful pork carnita tacos for a very affordable price, they're a 2-for-1 deal. And of course, they have wine as a 2-for-1 deal as well. So, it's my favorite combo, tacos and wine. How can you go wrong? And I also want to remind you that our friend Empress is having this event on Thursday afternoon at the Joint Boutique Hotel and Co-work. American Legion Post 12 Family and Friends Auxiliary, an opportunity to support veterans and their families in Puerto Vallarta through a series of hosts and of host events and fundraisers and all kinds of cultural activities that our friend Empress is trying to helm. She came to an interview last week for the Spotlight, and and that was absolutely wonderful. So we wish her good luck. Of course, this is happening in the early afternoon at the Joint Boutique Hotel in a couple of days, right before my piano presentation, which I've been talking about. I'm really excited about this one, and even my friend B. Steinway had something to say about it, and I think B. Steinway is going to say it again.
Hello, name's B. Steinway, born 1891, New York City. I'm what you call a Model B grand piano, 7 feet of class, sass, and 88 keys of pure personality. I've been around the block. I've played concert halls, jazz joints, and once, a wedding where someone tied balloons to my bench. Balloons. I've seen it all, from Chopin in silk gloves to students pounding out chopsticks with greasy fingers. And don't get me started on these modern keyboards with 1,000 voices and flashing lights. Cute, but I only need one voice, mine. And honey, it still turns heads. What's wild is I'm still discovering new sounds, new feels. From the dreamy fingers of Bill Evans to the fire of Kapustin to the absolute chaos, blessed chaos, of Hiromi. So if you think pianos peaked in 1889, think again. Come hear me in action at Paco's newest music appreciation soiree. Look, Ma, it's a piano! Modern masterpieces for the keyboard curious. Thursday, July 10th. At the Joint Boutique Hotel and Co-work, 5 p.m. sharp. I've still got it, and I'm ready to show off.
I still got it. Let's see what you're up to. Thank you so much for the good mornings, and thank you so much for the birthday wishes. We have a counter. David Riley. Only 2.5 weeks until Puerto Vallarta. You know, sorry. I love that feeling of anticipation when you're going away and you're counting days. Well, I am in Puerto Vallarta right now, but in a couple of weeks, I'll be going away for a weekend, only for a weekend with some dear friends. And I can't wait to go back to the mountains. Muffin. Hello, Muffin. Why are the back of my knees sweating inside an Uber while the air conditioning is on? Oh, yes, because it's July in Puerto Vallarta. That is pretty accurate. I hope you're going somewhere fun. And thank you for pointing me to the, what was it called? The Cruffins? We got to go try some of those Cruffins, Muffin. Let's see what else we have. More birthday wishes. Thank you very much. What? From LAX on our way to Madrid. That sounds like so much fun. Linda, have a fun adventure and bring back chingaderas. Let's see what else we have. Oh, how fun. Glenn says our family lives in Morelia. You know, I've only been once, and I'm afraid I went for a seminar. So I was sequestered in a hotel conference room for most of the 3 days that I was there. I did have a chance to look around the downtown area, but I would love to go back to Morelia. I really would. Let's see. Somebody else interesting in Morelia, Angelica. Let's find out more. Devin says, I watched some videos on Morelia. Looks real nice. You know, I even did a quick deep dive this morning into the internet to see if I could pinpoint 10 things that you would want to see in Morelia. And I didn't get a chance to prepare it for this broadcast, but for anybody looking to expand your awareness of Mexico through places you can get to easily, Morelia sounds like a no-brainer. As usual, I will give you the same disclaimer that I always give you. Once you venture into inland Mexico, even the large cities do not necessarily come to expect the bilingual red carpet that you get here in Puerto Vallarta. Better to be surprised than to be disappointed. Let's see what else we have. There's a queue. What are your birthday plans? Hope it includes a super birthday meal and something Sweet. Well, it's in Lars's hands, and I couldn't be happier. Latsito is taking care of me today. We're going to go and have dinner with a dear friend of ours, and I can't wait. I'm excited. And then on Saturday, we have a larger rendezvous with our friends um, that live in the mountains. So Saturday will be more of a bigger crowd. So I'm excited. Let's see what else. Robin says, I hope you have a Butterfinger to enjoy. I've run out, but that's probably okay. I mean, look at my double chin. But thanks for the good wishes. Uh, See, this is what I mean. Charles says, Glenn says, we had to fly through Monterrey to get to Puerto Vallarta from Morelia. If you look at that on a map, it is absolutely insane. So I'm excited about the possibility of Morelia. Now it's just a matter of keeping an eye on a really awesome time of the year to go, or a great festival, or a great something. I think Morelia also has the Pipe Organ Festival. I believe it happens in Morelia. And this is a festival where great compositions for the organ are played in huge cathedrals. So there you have it. Let's see. There's another cue. Do you think the anti-gringo protests could come to Vallarta? What a great question, JC. No, not as visibly as we've seen them elsewhere. And this is totally my opinion. One of the good things, hold on, let me get rid of the chit chat music for this one. Protests have a good side and a bad side. I think protests are good because they give you the opportunity to release some pent up steam. Of course, protests can get out of hand. The flip side of that is if you don't have the opportunity to express what you're feeling, then it gets bottled up and becomes pressurized. So back to Puerto Vallarta. Puerto Vallarta has this joint by the hip relationship with foreign tourism. That's not going to go away. How we deal with it as Mexican nationals is challenging. Some of us choose to encourage our visitors to become more connected with the way we are instead of coming here and trying to change things to the way English speakers or foreigners would like things to be. And that's kind of like not the right way to go about it, if you ask me. So, do you think the anti gringo protests could come to Vallarta, says JC? I think as long as we have people that keep coming to Puerto Vallarta with entitled ideas, there's always a possibility that something will burst at some point. It is unfortunate that we get people like that, but I continue to focus my energy to the best of my ability on people, situations, connections, and experiences that don't factor that. I continue to be grateful that our city has space for everyone, and I continue to have absolutely no interest in connecting with anyone who comes here with entitled expectations. And I hope that my answer is satisfactory. Back to the chit chat. That was a good question. Thank you for that. Your comments about Lady Racist. I don't believe the rally riot in Ciudad de Mexico against gentrification was caused by milder salsa. It's more complicated than that. For the record, I never said that it was, and the article didn't. So no, no, no. Trust me, nobody goes out to protest just because the salsa got mild. That is just one of the aspects of gentrification. So it's not something that you have to believe, Jerome. That's simply not the way it went. Gentrification in Mexico City is a deeper um, situation, not different from the situation here in Puerto Vallarta, where the arrival of people with allegedly higher financial budgets make things very expensive for locals and displace locals culturally and in terms of housing and so forth. Let's see what else. Ba-dum-ba-bum. Yes, we do, Laura. We continue to love Mrs. President. And yes, we think she's a true leader. Let's see what else. Oh, yes. Thank you for that, Linda. See, doesn't it feel good to spread great recommendations? And, that's what I love about what we come here to do. Memo's tours are simply amazing, highly recommended. I've known Memo for way over a decade, and I love him, and he's just a wonderful asset to our city. Uh, Pavlova Bakery is on my bucket list too, Barbara. Every other day it is. Love El Rey. They are pet friendly. There you go. Well, you choose to call him names, Angelica. I choose not to, and that makes us different, and that's okay. Um, it is funny, but you know what? The moment we start throwing nicknames at people, then we become as bad as them. Okay, so I just gave Lady Racist a nickname. That's a different story. But calling names to our politicians and leaders and whatnot, don't we become at least a little bit bad? Just food for thought. Food for thought. Let's see. Where am I going? I'm going to hell. I just know I'm going to hell. I don't know when, but I just know I'm going to hell. Let's see what else. Barbara says Morelia, absolutely. There you go. Shout out to Lars. Lars sent me a wonderful Danish birthday song this morning, and he's just wonderful. Let's see what else. I think we're done. Yes, we're done. So, yay. Gotta get busy. I have so much work to do. But the good thing is I enjoy what I do, and I enjoy that I do it with you and for you. So how could I possibly complain? Thank you for joining me this morning. This afternoon, I'm going to continue to work on my presentation for Thursday. Just wrapping it up. Then I'll get ready for birthday dinner somewhere. Thank you again for your wishes. Thank you again for your company. Thank you so much for your support. It means the world to me. Big or small, occasional coffees or subscriptions, it all goes to helping me stay connected with you and helping you connect with Mexico and everything this country has to offer. Have a great day, and I'll see you again tomorrow morning. Take care.